Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to this month's featured webinar on how video telematics provides the ultimate liability protection, sponsored by Protective Insurance. I'm Amit Jain from Rhodes, the marketplace platform, which powers the Protective Insurance marketplace. Over the next 30 minutes, you will learn how Surfsight's dual-facing in-cab camera can improve driver and fleet safety. Now more than ever, there is a need for a solution which alerts the drivers on the dangerous behavior that is happening inside the cab and actually empowers them to take corrective action in near real time. Surfsight's camera solution with its AI capabilities provides a good full 360 view picture of what's happening both in cab and outside as the vehicle is being driven in near real time. So to kick it off, we're going to have Mauricio Berber he's going to be providing an overview of the Surfsight solution. And we'll end the session by viewing the Surfsight solution on the Protective Marketplace. If you do have any questions, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, and we will address all the questions towards the end of the session. So without further ado, Mauricio.
Thank you very much, Amit. Thank you all for being on the call today. Always a pleasure to introduce new products to the group. As Amit mentioned, we are going to be talking about Surfsight. We'll be doing more of a 30,000 foot view at the beginning, just kind of show you the capabilities and the features of the camera itself, how the camera actually physically looks. And then we'll actually be going into a live demo account to show you just what that looks like and how the video comes off. With zero to no lag. So without further ado, you guys have probably already heard of me. I've had a chance to present to you folks in the past, so we won't have to go into RMJ and what we do. I do want to take advantage of the time that we have and really focus on Surfsight, the AI 12 dash cam, now having MVAI as part of the package. So in today's world, as we know, there is a lot of false claims happening. The nuclear verdicts are climbing through the roof. We had talked about this in previous demos that we've done. And what's really interesting about Surfsight is the folks that actually started it, they started it as a side project, really, at the beginning. The question was more so, or the demand was more so brought to them to build a camera that was affordable, that had rich features, and that can be installed quickly, but also to be very durable. The guys took all the feedback they received from multiple resellers and went and developed it. They were originally known for, over in Europe, for voiceover and video conferencing, but they then transferred that technology over to cameras, and that's why they were able to develop a very smooth solution that allows for very near real-time video, which a lot of the cameras in the industry are lacking right now. So this is the Surfsight product. We'll go into a little bit deeper, looking into the features. When it comes to RMJ, looking at products, as you guys have heard in the past, we look for the device to be very durable in the environment that it's going to be in. Understanding that this was made for all types of fleets, we went ahead and put it through the tests. We put it through our customer service tests that we do as well, and also through its durability in extreme temperatures. And so what we find here today is a rotating mount. Again, these guys paid attention to everything that was said as far as developing the camera to avoid issues that come up, whether it's drivers unplugging the camera or the vehicles getting hit on the side and getting dinged, and then people leaving without leaving any notes. All of those things were thought of, even having a hidden panic button underneath the camera that you see here. So the rotating mounting bracket allows for it to be able to customize to different types of windshields. The parking mode, as I mentioned, it's really set for it to detect vibration, so that if something hits the vehicle, it'll automatically wake up and start recording. Could capture plates of the vehicle that hit the vehicle and took off. It also has the 1080p HD adjustable lens angle. It does allow for a SIM card of up to 128 gigabytes. And then again, I mentioned the panic button, which A lot of cameras out there don't have or required to have an external added on as an add-in that could be put in near the wheel or somewhere in the cab. But this one already has it built in underneath. It's very hidden. And it does come in handy when it comes to drivers seeing an event or being harassed by other drivers, where they can go ahead and snap that button and go ahead and capture video that is occurring at that moment and go ahead and tag it for the managers to see in the back end. It is a 4G LTE connectivity. There is a screen inside the cab. This is what makes it a bit of a differentiator as well. It does allow for you to be able to rotate the camera as it's being installed, so that you can have the perfect view. You're not having to guess or go back to the desk, see if that's a good view. You actually can see it on the screen itself. The screen itself is touchscreen. It does allow for settings to be changed and set. Also, the settings can be changed and set in the back office by administrators. So it does give the flexibility for that. The in-cab facing camera right now at the beginning, because a lot of folks are, under the impression that cameras are Big Brother. There is a high demand for companies who want to just have the forward-facing video and then being able to turn off the driver-facing video. The capability is there. You can turn off the in-cab facing video. There's also caps that can be purchased to be able to block the video. Understanding there's some privacy there, that if the driver is on their break or in sleep or berth, they don't want to be have their privacy violated. So that is an option available there. There's also an actual cap that goes on the side of the camera that could be added, and that's to prevent drivers from disconnecting the camera. Again, having thought of all the different things that can happen, from drivers not wanting their privacy invaded while they're on sleeper berth, or drivers just getting tired of the camera and disconnecting it. Those are all things that they've built preventative things for, as well as alerts when the camera is disconnected. So there is a lot of features built into it. There are built-in speakers for alerts. You will see the screen flashing, and I'll show you in a little bit what that looks like. The screen flash is very similar to a Mobileye device. Mobileye will have a little circular thing in the cab that starts flashing to help avoid any kind of forward collision, lane departure, stuff like that. In this case, the screen itself will show a different icon depending on the type of distraction or the type of violation that the driver is currently in. As I mentioned before, the settings can be set in the camera itself. The camera is able to record audio. Most companies tend to turn that off, but it is the button enable, disable is there for compliance issues. So there are a number of sensors within the camera, very good accelerometers that are already within the camera, and the accelerometers can be set to different sensitivities. You will have GPS tracking as a result of this video, so like video capturing. So if somebody has a slower GPS tracking system, for example, Omnitrax, we have customers that have the IVG. That one will give you pings of 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, it'll give you 3 5-minute pings. In this case, if you have the camera, you're going to be able to get near real-time GPS tracking. It won't be as robust as the IVG or other GPS tracking solutions, because those are meant specifically for optics on reporting vehicle maintenance and other things. The camera is basically just going to be eyes in the cab and a witness, right? We need to have this witness that can capture the video and tell the story. A simple 10-second clip could be the difference between a company having to pay millions and millions or being able to exonerate themselves within minutes. So it's a very, very important tool now being utilized at an affordable price. Installation, very simple. It is meant to be hardwired, and you can see here there is a little clip here for it to be installed on the actual fuse box. So that becomes very helpful in the sense that you don't have to be digging around cutting cables. You can actually just go ahead and tap into one of those a fuse that can be piggybacked off of in the box. And that, of course, powers the unit. As you can see here, the display is on. It's not a big screen, but it is a touch screen. So there are different features and capabilities to be able to take advantage of there. One of the things that really set Surfsight aside was the fact that they were very affordable, that they had durable equipment. And as a result of that and how fast it scaled, it caught the attention of the world's largest camera provider today, which is Lytx. And Lytx ended up acquiring Surfsight. So now that Surfsight is a part of the Lytx family, so it's now being backed by the largest camera company in the world. They went ahead and infused it. Basically, they shot it with some steroids of technology, right? So now they put in AI, MVAI, which is allowing us to be able to capture different types of distracted driving within the cab that you wouldn't be able to capture before with just GPS tracking. So this is now putting eyes in the cab, allowing us to see near misses or bad behavior, bad habits, bad patterns, so that we can go ahead and coach against it, right? It is important to see when a driver is drowsy, when a driver is just on their phone all the time, when they're eating. There are different types of behavior that you guys all know in the insurance business can cause some serious risks. So with the MVAI solution or the MVAI technology, now we're able to be to see if the driver is using a handheld, is not wearing their seatbelt, is smoking, eating, or just plain distracted. So you start seeing the different types of icons to pop into the screen for us, for the driver to be able to be alerted of what is the behavior that's being set. That also gets triggered and set over into the back office interface for fleet managers and risk managers to look at. This is what a actual back office looks like, and I'll go into a live one here shortly, but there's a lot of flexibility for configuration. As I mentioned, you can do the audio recording. These are some of the things that you can actually do within the camera inside when you can enable, disable different things. You can see here in-cab recordings. You can turn that off if you wanted to turn the camera off facing the driver. We, of course, don't recommend that. We rather they put the cap on it when they're on sleeper berth or on break, and then take it back off when they're driving, only because it is important to tell the full story. We've seen it time where if a situation happens, there's only forward-facing video because the customer decided to turn off the driver facing, and we're only able to tell half the story, in which case leaves room for a lot of interpretation, right? Shaky testimonials, or the person that got hit saying that their driver was on their phone and they swore up and down that they were on their phone. But if we had that in-cab video, we would be able to prove that they were not. So those are really important things that we want to keep in mind, and we talk to customers about when deploying this technology, because it is important to tell the full story. Another big thing about the Surfsight product that we really like is its scalability. So now that we have the forward-facing, driver-facing, a lot of camera manufacturers get stuck on just those two views. It's really important to understand that in the trucking industry, it's really nice to have that 360, right? So multi-channel becomes a big, huge positive. To be able to put a camera on each side of the truck, to be able to put a camera in the rear end. Customers are even using the rear end camera to try to combat theft. So having a camera back there that they can tap into at any time becomes a huge asset for them not to lose or lose money as a result of theft. So that scalability component really makes this camera a very hot item, not only because of its price point, because of its monthly. In comparison to all of the different competitors out there, Surfsight is among one of the less expensive ones, but most rich in features. There are a lot of cameras out there that are coming out that are claiming to have AI technology, but it's very elementary, and it's not really reliable. So there's a lot of false positives, and that's what we really look for when we drill down deep into these, is want to make sure that there's not just a bunch of false positives that create noise, and therefore drivers or fleet managers end up ignoring the information, right? I can attest, because I have one of these in my vehicle, that when a actual alert happens, it truly is picking up either me eating or me drinking. It actually picks up, or a distraction in the front. So it really is good on those things. Here's the back office. It can be a standalone camera solution. So this is what the back office looks like here. You're going to have a menu of different things you can do, which I'll show you here in a minute. But at any time, the fleet manager has the ability to jump into any vehicle that they want and be able to click on any of the cameras to be able to see live what the vehicle or what the driver is doing and where the vehicle is at. This is exercised a lot in extreme weather situations, where there's a concern if the driver is going through certain areas to be able to see what their environment looks like. Also, it is used in borders when customers want to see if their trucks have crossed and what all that, or what the traffic looks like. So it's a really cool feature to be able to have that there. That's pretty much it in a nutshell as we talk about the Surfsight product in itself. I can jump into the live view if nobody has any questions, because the live view will also probably trigger some questions here. No questions?
Go ahead, Mauricio. We'll take questions in the end.
Sure. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and jump into it here. Right now, this is a pilot, a customer who actually is an Omnitrax IVG user, but they had thought about going over to Samsara, ended up staying with us as the customer, but said we would also like cameras, and we heard about the Surfsight devices. We'd like to get those on, so they're actually trying out a couple. This is a fleet of over 200 trucks that will be deploying here in the next month or so. So far, it's been a very successful pilot. You'll see here, the cameras will show green, orange. This meaning that the device is not on right now. This meaning the device is actually on and it's moving. You can go in here to the cameras itself, and you can go ahead and trigger bulk, because it's not on right now. You can trigger bulk settings. So as I mentioned before, you can make changes here. Instead of drilling down per camera, you can go ahead and do it to all cameras. So you can go ahead and make the changes, whether you want the audio recording on or off, whether you want the audio alerts on or off. You have different features you can select here, and then you can go ahead and save once you make those changes. You also have the ability to tap into the camera here. As I mentioned, you can go ahead and look at the front, you can look at the rear. This particular customer, because we just kicked off the pilot, we actually are having issues and pushback from the actual driver, because they've managed to cover both the front and the back lenses. And so they are being asked to, as of today, to go ahead and remove that. But this would be where we would tap into, and you would be able to see live video. Obviously, they haven't unblocked both sides. The cameras do have the ability to work in Mexico. So if you were to hit the map, you'll be able to see here, both trucks are actually in the same lot right now, but they are in Mexico. So in Mexico, it's a little bit different as far as coverage. So it does cover with a specific SIM. It does cover Mexico areas all the way down to Monterrey or further, but you can use them anywhere in the U.S. Now you can go into recordings, or actually you can go into events, and then you can actually pick a camera, and you can go ahead and select the stats on it. So you can see how many times, this is just for today, but let me go back maybe to the last 7 days. So you can see more stats and visuals as to the events that occurred. You can get a breakdown here of what types of events are, right? Button press, deacceleration, but then you get a numeric list here that shows you exactly what the issues have been. So because the cameras have been covered on the driver's side, we really don't have a lot of these, but we know that if the driver is covering the camera, there's probably a good reason why he's doing that. And so it's a matter of the fleet manager to discipline them so that they don't do that. And we're able to capture what the cameras are intended for, is that situation. So we're able to click in here. It'll tell you the location of when the event happened. It'll go ahead and give you all the information based on that event. You're also able to go back to recordings and be able to find a specific time frame. If for whatever reason an incident happened, you can actually go back and use the timeline, because these cameras are always recording, and be able to narrow down when an incident happened. Most likely the accelerometers will trigger that, but let's just say it was a non-triggerable event. So if the event wasn't triggered, but something did happen, they can go ahead and go back into the timeline and narrow down the time frame, and then be able to download that clip right here, so they can go ahead and see that, have a copy of that video event. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. It gives you the analytics of different of the devices. It allows you to export it so you can have for your own records, whether it's aggressive driving, speeding, geofence reports, stuff like that. And then you can go ahead and do a lot of the management here, where you can create users, you can change passwords, you can change settings, you can even change the organization name. But it's very user friendly, and it's a very popular device on demand. I would say it's a really big market disruptor because of its price point and rich capabilities. So without further ado, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Happy to answer questions. And
Mauricio, we'll go to the questions. Let me first just take everybody to the marketplace and the card. So
sure.
I'm going to share my screen, if you don't mind.
Perfect.
So folks, if you look at the chat, I've also posted the URL for the Protective Insurance Marketplace in the chat. You can navigate to the marketplace at your leisure. But once you come to the marketplace homepage, you'll see that there's a lot of categories of solutions that you have access to. So obviously today we are talking about a video telematics camera type solution. So that'll be in the ADAS and the camera category. Just before we get to it, all the past webinars where we have spotlighted other solutions are also on the marketplace. If you scroll all the way to the bottom under resources, today's webinar will also be posted there if you need to go back and review it. But let's go to the Surfsight solution. So for today's Surfsight solution, if you want to find out more details, you navigate, either you can go scroll down all the different solutions, or you can click on the ADAS and camera category, navigate to the Surfsight solution card. Once you get to the card, you'll see there's a short description and there's the price there's a monthly recurring price for the solution, as well as one-time cost for the hardware itself and installation when and where available. So you can get some idea of the price points for the solution. As you scroll down, there's a little bit more details about the solution. There are also some videos in this carousel. There's actually a video that you can watch of how the solution is utilized by a fleet. And then at the end of the day, you can also download this brochure, which gives you a little bit more information about the solution. So that's how you will be able to navigate to the Surfsight. In order to speak to Mauricio and his team, you need to submit a request info. Basically, it's a quick wizard, 3 screens. I think there's about 6 questions about, asking about yourself, your email, and your fleet type, as well as fleet size. So very few questions there through this wizard. You submit that, and then somebody from Mauricio or his team will get back to you to get you more information about the solution. So that's essentially what we want to show you in the demo today. I'm going to stop sharing and go to the Q&A. One of the questions, Mauricio, for you was, how is the camera visibility at nighttime or during adverse weather conditions?
The actual, that's a great question. So the actual visibility is great. It does have the IR vision. So it has great lighting. I wish I would have been able to show one of the clips, because it does show one of the ones at night, but it's actually very sharp picture. And then remembering that the camera does have an IR sensor facing the driver as well. So whether it's daytime or nighttime, it's able to see through sunglasses, able to see eyeballs right through the sunglasses. So to answer the question, visibility is actually really good.
Okay, great. Another question is, it seems like there is a hardware install as you showed. So for larger fleets, or even if somebody is not comfortable, are there professional installation or installers available to help with this?
Yes, there are. We have multiple networks that we work with because we deploy units nationwide. So we do have a great, we actually give the customer about 3 different options. If we don't end up doing the install, if they prefer to do it through the network, we can refer them to that.
Okay, wonderful. I think there's a quick follow-up to the earlier question. What does IR sensor mean? So that is an infrared sensor that allows you to see through dark. Is that correct, Mauricio?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. Other question, in one of the slides, there was some mention about auxiliary cameras. So when and how are the auxiliary cameras used?
The auxiliary cameras are the ones that I mentioned could be used to give more of the 360 view. So you're talking about one on each side, right? A lot of times trucking companies get the blame for, oh, the truck was in my lane. So they're able to kind of get that side view live. And also there's an auxiliary camera that can be put in the rear of the truck or the trailer, allowing for the full 360 view.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Other question is about, does camera have a distortion correction capability to compensate for the wide angle fisheye lens?
That's actually a great question, and I don't want to give the wrong information. I would have to go back to check with the Surfsight folks. That's a very specific one, but I would be able to get you guys the answer in the next 24 hours.
Okay, wonderful. I think that's all the questions we have for today. So folks, please go to the Protective Insurance Marketplace to look at Surfsight and other solutions if you're curious about them. That'll be all for today. Thank you for joining the webcast today.